Perfection. What do biological life forms know of it? We have achieved perfection by assimilating countless species and adding their uniqueness to our own. The Borg have brought harmony where there was discord, unity where there was confusion, strength of will where there was only weakness. But now we find ourselves facing a species that resists assimilation, that resists perfection. Species 8472 represents the pinnacle of biological development and possesses capabilities beyond all others that we have encountered. In time we will adapt and make them one with us. But that time is not now. While we remain here in the Alpha Quadrant, separated from the rest of the collective, we cannot defeat them alone. Their power is too great. And the discovery of an interdimensional rift between normal and fluidic space poses a great danger to the survival of the collective. It is for this reason I have entered into a temporary alliance with the Federation, represented by the one known as Jean-Luc Picard. Picard, we must first eliminate all of species 8472 in this system before we enter into the rift.
What? You said nothing about entering the rift when we made this alliance.
Consider the terms of our alliance altered. Our sensors reveal that there is some type of life form in fluidic space stabilizing the rift and keeping it open. We must destroy it if we are to seal the rift.
What will we do if the rift closes and we find ourselves trapped in fluidic space?
It matters not what happens to us. The survival of the collective is our goal. We are ensuring the survival of both of our species by closing that rift. I do know something of your kind, Picard. Is self-sacrifice not considered a worthy trait of your species?
What I don't need is a lecture from the Borg on the qualities of humanity. But I must agree, it is in both of our interests to stop species 8472 before they overrun the Alpha and Delta quadrants. But know this, after we destroy whatever is holding that rift open, I shall do everything in my power to bring my people home safely.
I would expect no less from an inferior biological life form. Let us now engage the enemy. Follow my lead.
Hi everyone and welcome back to Star Trek Armada 2, and boy oh boy was that an intro sequence. One thing that I will say is that Picard appears to have added bitchiness to his diplomatic skills. And also, the other thing that he's added is just being a complete and total pussy. So, generally probably not the way that he wanted to be perceived in this game, but never mind. It's rare that it's the Borg Queen who sees the big picture, and Picard's the one who's being a pain in the arse. Anyway, we're going to build up fairly quickly here. We're against species 8472 again, so I'm going to need to build quite a few Nexi, because again, no inhabitable planets in the system, and therefore I'm going to be relying on Nexi for the foreseeable future. There is an unfortunate side to this, is that while we have the Federation with us, we don't have any of their stations or anything like that, so really this just becomes a little bit of have a few extra ships and have another hero ship that you have to stick behind your Nexi, because there's really nothing else that you can do. If we could tech the Federation up to a decent degree, that might at least be something that we could work with, but for the most part here we're just going to be stuck with whatever ships they give us, which includes some really bad ships, unfortunately. But I'm not going to complain too much, because it is quite cool, and at least the Federation are back from their exploits in the Delta Quadrant, which seem to have left them with about 5 ships from the massive things that they had there. I mean, didn't they have like an entire system's worth of resources and everything else at their disposal? And that's left. That essentially ended up being 5 ships, which wasn't very good. I'm getting rid of the majority of the Federation ships here, aside from the bigger ones. Again, I might have kept the Intrepid, I suppose, though. Probably a little bit hesitant, hefty on getting rid of that. But to be honest, small ships just don't do it against Species 8472, and I'm going to want the resources fairly quickly because I'm going to want another Nexus up protecting my metal mining facility, and I'm a little bit starved on resources at the start of this mission, so getting rid of the cheaper and not as good units is certainly going to be the way forward for me. One thing that I did notice is that if you look at the start, I believe it's mission 26, it's the start of. This system where the fluidic rift is the Huric system, and that is in fact the system where Guld Kentar had his quantum singularity research facility. So either when his research facility was destroyed, it created this rift, or the fact that it was in this system already and Martok and the rest of the Klingons were just drunk and completely missed it. That's certainly something that is that has potential to have happened. So sadly the Klingons are living up to their empty-headed ways, sadly. Still, at least at this point, we've teamed up with the smart party, you know, the Federation guys, the ones who got themselves lost in the Delta Quadrant. Yeah. Anyway, enough with that. We've got our ships. Not really much of an attack from Species 8472 there. Still, it's good to have Sovies again, even if I don't get the core mine reflector. Still, could be worse. Okay, third Nexus.
Objective received.
And that'll be enough to get some pretty serious production started. Species 8472 on this map really aren't that aggressive. They pretty much turtle on one base, even though they have a lot of area to expand into, and that's really just going to play into our hands. So that's the modification center down. So technology node and advanced assembly matrix to follow, I believe. And yeah, we're pretty dilithium starved here. Well, that battleship went down easily. Must have been because the first shot was at warp, so therefore did a bit more damage.
Status report.
And I'm going to stick the Enterprise behind my Nexus because I don't want it getting itself destroyed.
Armed and ready.
And yeah, just put the Federation ships that are worth a damn and my tactical cubes into the same group. And should make things a little bit easier for me.
Where are we needed?
And I'm going to put a repair ship back there as well. Uh-oh, a Galaxy class ship has got ideas.
By your command.
Oh no, it appears to have stopped at least. Again, same theory as the last missions involving the Borg. Keep your ships intact as much as possible. Don't just go off and get them destroyed. You are going to need them. And while we're not under as much pressure as we were in the previous mission, Species 8472 are still dangerous, and I somehow seem to not be realising there's a dirty great big tactical cube there in the middle of where I want to build my advanced assembly matrix. Yeah, I'm a moron. And there we go. We can now get our advanced assembly matrix down. It's the Borg's fault for having such massive buildings. Yeah, that's my excuse. And let's recrew this Nexus so that we've got absolute full firepower on all of our Nexi. Yeah, yeah, this seems to be going pretty well.
Initiating vessel construction.
So let's build ourselves the only thing we ever build out of the normal shipyard, i.e. some detectors. And we'll have a good look at the map and see if we can find places that might
Activate all
be good places to expand to.
vessel construction complete. The collective
Unfortunately,
must grow.
as opposed to when playing as the Federation, it's really a case of turtling up hard on one base and then expanding as the Borg. You really don't do a huge amount of fast expanding, because it's just too dangerous to do so, especially in the later parts of the game.
We have entered a dangerous nebula.
This should be done soon, and oh, there's a planet. We can certainly
Must grow.
advance there. And we can now build the ship upgrade facility, so I'm going to go ahead and do so. Once I have 1500 metal, of course. I'm really resource starved at this point. It's one of the, obviously one of the big disadvantages of being on one base is that you do end up just really starved on resources, but it's also just that much safer. Unfortunately, pretty much everything I have built I will need, so can't say that I'm building stuff I don't need. But yeah, really metal starved at the moment.
Station construction complete.
But fortunately, all ships cost more in dilithium than they do in metal, and all of the research options cost dilithium as well, so same idea as in the last mission. Going to get a force of cubes and diamonds, and then we're going to move on. Doesn't appear to be much of a Species 8472 presence here. They haven't really put any sort of pressure on me whatsoever. The only pressure that's been put on me really is by my own lack of resources, really. And that'll sort itself out now that I can just straight up stop building stuff. Well, stop building buildings anyway. I'm just going to switch over to ship production, and that's going to have me in a really good spot. Yeah, cruisers aren't going to get the job done against tactical cubes.
Make it so.
Whoa, really odd. Don't know what that was all about.
Activate all alcoves.
Oh, I actually got 3 Galaxy class ships, did I, at the start of this mission? That's awesome. I like Galaxy class ships. And we found a second metal moon here, which is absolutely perfect for our needs. Just going to get a resource processing node in place and build another freighter, because I want 2 freighters mining the planet. No, nanites isn't going to do much. Nanites is an interesting ability. Works pretty well on human players. What it would do is that it would spray all the icons all over the screen. If happen, it makes controlling your ships really annoying. But it doesn't work tremendously well in single player, and there's much better stuff that you can spend your time on. And now moving on to tactical cubes and diamonds as far as building goes, and again, a little bit resource starved, but with 2 metal planets at my disposal, I'm hoping to be able to really accelerate the amount of metal that I get, and that will allow me to build a recycler and transmute it into dilithium. So it's never a bad idea to get a massive surplus of 1 of your materials, because you can always transmute it. And there we go, that is the second mineral patch beginning to be mined, or metal patch. And now that I've got the
We will comply.
resources to do so, I'm going to plop this recycler down. Unfortunately, it's not going to provide its first ability, which is the 100% recycle, but it is going to allow me to transmute anything that I have excess. You saw me also start the weapons upgrade there. That's pretty much always the first upgrade I go for, unless it's a gimmick map like in the Federation ones with the Borg where you couldn't use warp drive. At that point, engines takes on a really big priority over weaponry and shields, but for the moment I'm going to stick to the norm on this one and just go straight for weaponry. I'm just going to have the Queen take out these two ships with her Ultritium burst, or at least do as much damage as possible with it, and her and the Enterprise should be more than enough to finish off this ship. But I'd rather they didn't get involved in combat, so back here you go.
Make it so.
And yeah, stop moving.
Yellow alert.
My fleet's continuing to grow, and I'm going to research level 2 shields. That's a really cheap upgrade as far as the Borg go. I think the weaponry upgrades are twice as expensive as the shield upgrades. You can certainly see why they've done that, because you know, the Borg are already powerful in terms of weapons, so upping their weapons is just incredibly good. Whereas, you know, the ships are already quite hardy, but the fact of the matter is, again, losing a ship as the Borg is so much more painful than losing a ship as the other races. So I think that the shield one is certainly a really good upgrade. And I'm just expanding to this dilithium moon up here, and as you can see now I've got a massive excess of metal and not a lot of dilithium, because tactical cubes I think cost 700 dilithium and 150 metal. So with the fact I've been cranking those out basically by the metric ton, I really need to reinforce my supplies of dilithium, because that's what I'm going to need. And I'm going to research level 2 engines, because I'm going to get the level 2 stuff before the level 3 stuff. The level 3 stuff just takes an absolute age to research, so having some upgrade is better than having no upgrade. And I'm not using what you should with a Nexus there. A Nexus only fires automatically at about half of its normal range. You can actually tell a Nexus to fire beyond its sensor range and it will be able to do it. So, bit of a mistake on my behalf there. I let some unintentional or unnecessary damage get through. And there you can see me transmuting a ton of metal into dilithium, and that should allow me to keep my processing up. Not sure this is 100% necessary, but you know me, I like to be well defended pretty much everywhere I go, and we are dealing with species 8472 here. Wow, another one, really? 5 Nexi, huh? Oh, I suppose consistent tactical cube production, but that's 4,000 dilithium and metal I've put in there. That's a lot of tactical cubes. And there we go, level 3 weapons now going down, and again I'm resource starved here, and this, I really don't like my idea of building Nexi like I did there. I think that's probably more than a little bit of overkill. And the Queen and the Enterprise once again taking down 2 piddling little ships that were no threat to anyone.
By your command.
I suppose it's just the increase that I have in resources now of 2 dilithium moons and 2 metal planets that just mean that I can afford to put down these Nexi, but again I don't really think it's necessary. My fleet at this point should be capable of interfering in anything that species 8472 try and pull. Again, we don't have to research special weapons or anything like that. None of them are really that useful apart from the Diamond's abilities, so we don't have to spend 1200 dilithium on holding beam or anything like that, which is always a big advantage. And I'm deciding to push for the middle here. There is a habitable planet there, as well as half decent metal, so I'm going to come over to this area, and Diamond getting involved there quite quickly, doing a lot of damage to those turrets, but it looks like I'm going to lose a Diamond here, which pretty much sucks. But yeah, it kind of got ahead of itself there, which is annoying, but I'm just going to replace it with the tactical cube, I think. Yeah, so I'm not exactly going to be crying over that, because tactical cubes are awesome. And yeah, another place for us to build stuff from. I'm going to build a colony ship. God, they're expensive. 600 never build more than one colony ship. Jeez. Having said that though, as the Borg, it's not like you need to build more than one colony ship anyway, so one of the advantages. Uh-oh, Species 8472 have just got their special weaponry. You might not have seen it in the bottom of the screen there, and wow, my detectors decided to try and take on a battleship. You guys are stupid. But at least let's try and get some scouting done. And another colony of ours. And hey look, an M-class planet, we can take that as well. You go and repair yourself. You can see the speed at which resources are coming in now, so I'm not really under any problems as far as resources anymore now. Generally sort of 3 or 4 metal mining facilities plus 2 dilithium is going to be enough for pretty much any production you want to do. Yep, metal being mined. Good, good. I'd say we're in pretty prime position here. So I think it's time that we went on the offensive. I don't really see much point in hanging around anymore. There we go. Oh. Oh no! That is the that's the psionic insanity in special weapon, and God Almighty, is that thing painful. What it basically does is it forces your crew to go insane, and they just start firing blindly on anything, and it kills a lot of the crew off as well. So it's a really, really nasty special weapon. You won't see it at its full power in this mission, but believe me, you will see it at its full power in later missions, and holy God, is that thing bad. Again, I'm working up 2 fleets here. I have the resources to do so, and you'll see that it's a very good idea at a point round about now, really. The Species 8472 base is up here, so we're going to try and take that out. So let's see how this goes. Yeah! No, not psionic insanity, or my ships are going to start shooting at each other. It looks like I got away with it. It doesn't last for very long, psionic insanity, which is a good thing, because otherwise it'd just be way overpowered. If it lasted for like 20 or 30 seconds or something, they'd just set it off in the middle of your fleet, and then your fleet would just destroy itself. So they have got it on a slightly they have got it on a bit of a lower leash, so I suppose that it's not as powerful as it could be, but my God, it's still really irritating. You can see the behemoth there trying to build a nebula. Behemoths can build friendly nebulas, and then one of their other special weapons is to blow up said nebula. So they're just a general pain in the backside to be around. And yep, here we are in the middle of the Species 8472 base. Yeah, Ultritium burst. How do you like them apples? It's like, yep, this is their base, alright. So let's try and stomp it. Look at the number of turrets that are there. This is mad. And unfortunately, the AI is very much like it's very much old school AI in the fact that it will target anything that's firing at it as opposed to the stuff that's actually dangerous. And I am clicking frantically on this mother here, just going, kill that, that's what's making things really dangerous. But that green nebula that the behemoth has thrown out is expanding, and it means that I can't target stuff. You can see my cubes are missing all the time now, so we've got a problem on our hands here, and my fleet's beginning to disintegrate. So I'm going to destroy as many facilities as I can as far as special weapons go. I'm going to see if I can get rid of this defender, but I don't think it's going to work. And my fleet is just dropping like flies here. This is a complete disaster. And eventually, with me swearing at the screen for my ships just missing everything, I am going to retreat. And yes, I did get that special weapons platform. So Species 8472 are now cut off from their special weapons. But God almighty, what a massacre. And thank God I have the second fleet. Not that I can't replace that first fleet, but holy crap, that was a beating. So, let's try that again, shall we? This time it's all tactical cubes, all the time, with 2 diamonds, but mostly tactical cubes all the time. Can you please just go for that mother? Yes, that's better. Haha, invulnerable tactical cube. Once I get this mother down, that'll be the end of most of the danger. For those of you who are wondering, that is a passive embryo that was doing all that wobbling and special effecty type thing. That's how Species 8472 build their buildings. Very much like the Zerg from StarCraft. Their mother produces embryos that transform into their buildings and their light units. They have to summon their heavy units from fluidic space through a fluidic gate, but the rest of their build is very much like the Zerg from StarCraft. But that is the Species 8472 base destroyed, and now it's just a case of finding the last one. Oh, look what I've found. It would be the fluidic rift that they were talking about, and this apparently was in the Heuric system all along, and the Klingons managed to miss it. Or it was caused by the Cardassians. I don't know. Anyway, see you next time, guys.
We have eliminated Species 8472 from this area and secured the rift. We will now have adequate time to prepare for the journey into fluidic space.